Hey everybody, Jessica Todd here. I am here at Salon Centric in Saddlebrook, New Jersey, and I'm here with L'Oreal Professionnel, and my name is Jessica Todd, aka Jessica Todd. You can find me at Jessica Todd on Instagram, and I am a stylist behind the chair 4 days a week. And I don't know about you guys, but I really like techniques that are user-friendly. I book on the hour, and so I really like something that's gonna give my guests the most bang for their buck. So it's summertime, so I'm gonna be featuring a product from L'Oreal Professionnel called Majirel Cool Cover. You can find this at your local salon-centric stores. And the reason that this is such a staple in my toolkit for the summertime is, I don't know about you guys, but all I hear all summer long from my brunettes that are out in the sun is, I see red. Give me a red heart in the comments if you agree or if you've heard that once or twice before. So I want you guys to envision a beach ball. So what I did is I went ahead and I applied her single process. So on her single process, on her base, I used Majirel Cool Cover 3N with 20 volume. She has not had her hair colored in a year. She's 25% gray. So I went ahead and pulled that down generously, about 4 inches down from the base. And back to my beach ball reference, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys a creative way to just pull through some color to create dimension and to create a highlighted effect technique. Today we're doing this live on a dark base, but we also did a blonde model as well, so you can kind of see the difference on a light and dark base. So what I'm doing is she had some balayage done, you said in December, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so she had some balayage done in December, and you can see it, and it's really beautiful. But we're just gonna create like a tone on tone. So think of like a Lindt chocolate truffle. If you've got a little bit darker on the outside, a little bit lighter on the inside, we all can relate to food, so I like to give easy references like that to my guests when they come into salon so that we can make sure we're on the same page. So what I did for her first sectioning is I took a section. Depending on the density of the hair, you can vary your sectioning. She has really thick, coarse hair. Majirel, for those of you that are not familiar with this product, it is an ammonia-based permanent hair color, so I'm using 20 volume. So it's gonna create some richness and some shine. Something else about L'Oreal Professionnel color is that our roots are founded in chemistry. So we have conditioning agents actually in our hair color, so it leaves the hair feeling very shiny, very rich. So I'm gonna be using 7.1 and 20 volume on this first section, and then I'm gonna be alternating sections back through using 7.1. My second formula is 6.17 with 20 volume, also Majirel Cool Cover. So we're using Cool Cover on this entire look today. So I went ahead and pre-did the first section, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the second section for you. And if you guys have questions, please drop them in the comments. I love this opportunity to connect with other artists. So I'd love to hear some of the challenges that you guys are having, or if you think that this is something that you would use behind the chair, or any other formulas, thoughts, questions, comments. Please feel free to drop below. So I applied my color. I'm working it through, and I'm gonna carefully place that there. I also like to keep a towel clipped to the side of my tray because we're gonna be alternating 2 different base colors. You just wanna clean your hands a bit before. Where my palette is really close in tone, I'm not as concerned as I would be. Some other ways that you can do this with different palettes is if you have like a redhead, a brunette, or even a blonde that comes in and has, say, 2 to 3 levels loss of tone than when she last came to visit. It's a really cool way to create dimension and movement through the hair without having to go through and do a full highlight. Now, I'm a balayage artist for L'Oreal Professionnel, so I love a good balayage, but I also really love techniques that are quick and efficient because time is money these days, and our guests really don't have as much time as they used to. So I'm always looking for ways that I can give them the biggest bang for their buck and really make their hair nice, healthy, shiny, and keep the integrity of it looking good. If you would like to catch any of our classes at L'Oreal Professionnel, we're gonna drop the link below so that you can check that out. I will be teaching a balayage class in September at the NYC location. And I will also be teaching a class called The Ultimate Shift with my friend Daniel Mason Jones. And that is a unique class that we have created to really help you break through some of your fears behind the chair. So I think Majirel Cool Cover is such a great tool because it's a really compact line. It has 23 shades, including our brand new 3 shades. We have 3N now, 10N, and 10.1. And it's something that, especially as I was a newer stylist and I was really, getting my feet on the ground with formulation and really trying to build my book, brunettes was something that I really struggled with. So something that's a great feature about Majirel Cool Cover by L'Oreal Professionnel is that it really has that opaque coverage. It definitely, it reflects a half a level deeper than its corresponding shade, so that's something you want to keep in mind when you're formulating. But it really fights the brassiness and the unwanted fading that you get in the summertime. So when I think of hair color, I like to think of hair color as layering on there, and as many layers of protection as I can put on my color, the better off we are. So I'm going through, and I've just been alternating. So those of you that are just joining us, my name is Jessica Todd. You can find me at Jessica Todd on Instagram. And I did a single process, and now I'm going through and I'm just alternating. I'm taking about 1/2 inch sections going through, and I pulled the 3N Majirel Cool Cover by L'Oreal Professionnel down to about 3.5 inches on her base. She has not had her hair colored in about a year. She's about 25% gray, and now I'm alternating my pull-through formulas, one right after the other. So after I applied my base color, I split the head in half, and one way to ensure that you are using the same pattern, because if I started here and I went all the way around, I wouldn't really know where I started or where I'm landing, so I want to make sure that the color's balanced. So I started in the front and I worked my way back to the center of the head, right at the control point, and I'm doing the same thing on the other side. So it's just a nice way to keep it organized. I can be a chatty Cathy behind the chair. So I'll be talking to my guests, and then you put your color brush down, you're like, which color did I just pick up? I'm not sure. So it's a nice way to keep you organized. Another really simple way, I like to use a lot of different colors behind the chair. And as you can see, I keep my base color here. Even though I'm done with it, I want to make sure that if I see anything, I still have my base color. I can go ahead and touch it up. I work with an associate, and so sometimes they're really on their game and they will take my color and rinse it. So I like to make sure that I leave my base color here on my tray. And then I have my lighter formula in one of these shakers. So the shakers are actually 2 different heights. So I keep my lighter shade in the taller shaker, and I keep my darker shade in the lower shaker. So that way I can tell which one is which if I get mixed up or forget which one I've got where.
So Jess, you have a question from the Instagram audience.
Yes.
From V Doherty. What are you using on her ends?
What am I using on her ends? So at the front, I started with Majirel Cool Cover by L'Oreal Professionnel, and it's 7.1. So for those of you that may not be familiar with our dual coating system, 7.1 is also a level 7 blue. And on the second formula, I'm using Majirel Cool Cover 20 volume 6.17, and that is a blue-green base. So our formulas are all pre-blended. So when you have a double tone shade, you have half of the tube that is your natural, and then you have your first, your primary tone, which is the first number after the decimal point. So in this case, it's 6.17. So it's a level 6, predominantly blue, with a little bit of green in there just to cut the edge. So the secondary tone's job is just to emphasize or de-emphasize the primary tone. So where this is a double cool shade, we're going for coolness on her mid-lengths and ends. You can see what she's gotten here pre-existing. So we're just looking to richen that up and cool that off.
Awesome. And V Doherty is also asking, are you toning and adding depth?
That's exactly what I'm doing with this. So where we're using the 20 volume, the reason for that is it's gonna budge through any residual, it's gonna shift any kind of residual color that she has on her ends previous to this, and the shades that I chose are gonna tone, but it's still gonna create a little bit of difference within her mid-lengths and ends. Because again, we're going, for those of you that missed the beginning, we're going for like a Lindt chocolate truffle, darker on the outside, slightly lighter on the inside.
Another question from the Instagram audience. Brian is asking, does it matter if it's horizontal or vertical sectionings for some areas?
You know, that's a good question. I prefer to do, I guess it would depend on what they previously have in their hair. I prefer to do vertical sections just because it keeps the look a lot cleaner. I think that part of providing a luxury service is that you make sure that your guest looks good through the whole service, not just after when they get their hair done. Of course, we have a job that we need to do. So when I'm balayaging somebody and I'm painting their hair out like this, you know, it's not gonna look beautiful, but if I can keep it looking neat and clean. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I walk around in my salon and I see somebody sitting there with color all over their forehead, all over their ears, maybe on their neck. You know, a lot of my guests are coming in and out of the salon, they're going back to work or they're going to a dinner or a function, and I like them to leave with as much makeup as they came in with, or if they're not wearing any makeup, to make sure that, you know, they're leaving relatively clean. So that's why I prefer the vertical sections. Another reason from a colorist standpoint is you can see, just like balayage, right? I'm painting the hair for where the hair lives. So her hair, I have it parted where she's naturally gonna part it. The hair's settled where it's gonna live, and then I'm going in and coloring to that. So that's the way that I prefer to do it, but I like the idea of maybe playing, if somebody had a shorter hair and maybe going in through the back with horizontal sections, and then maybe going through the top with vertical sections, because I think it would be pretty, you know, difficult to do with a cropped bob, or if somebody had a lot of layers or something like that.
You're getting a lot of Facebook love. Stephanie is watching from Walker, Louisiana.
Hi, Stephanie.
Azriel says you're amazing. And Lindsay says that's my dimensional color boss, babe.
Yeah. Lindsay Davis, you can follow her at Z Davis. I'll tag her in something later. She is an incredible colorist, and I just want to encourage you guys, like, I work in a salon full of extremely talented women, and we just don't happen to have any guys in our salon. That's why I'm saying only women. But go and check each other's workout. I think it's so often that we run through a really busy day, especially when you get to be a fully booked stylist, and you just kind of can show up and you run through your clients, you run through your day, see what's on your book, and then you go. Really take a second to observe your coworkers' work and to see what other people are doing. We're huge in collaborating, and we love to run what we call JT night sessions that two of my stylists came up with, and it's a way for us to jam out and play with new products. So when new products like Majirel Cool Cover come out, we set up models and we set up a night, and we just bring in some snacks, maybe a little vino, and we play with the hair color to really see what it's gonna do. So it allows us to really be more creative behind the chair, because I think something else as a, if you're a more booked stylist or even as a newer stylist, you can be afraid to try things, on your guests. So we tend to stay in what's safe. And this technique that I'm showing you guys today, I really love this technique because, again, it's a way for you to play with different colors, and really you're kind of creating like your own color swatch on the hair. So you can play, like you could do this technique with a lightener as well. So if I was doing like a lighter palette, one of my other favorite products to use is Magi Mesh. It's one of our ammonia-free lighteners by L'Oreal Professionnel. I think it's an incredible tool. It only lifts 5.5 levels, 15 minutes under heat, 30 minutes without heat. And it's designed to leave a little bit of warmth in the hair so you don't have to worry about it overlifting. So if I was to create a little variation in here, I could have done, my first color pull through, and then I could have taken a smaller slice and gone through with some of the Magi Mesh lightener. and then gone through and repeated my pattern kind of where I felt need be, and then I could have finished it with like a Dia-Light gloss or, you know, emulsifying it all at the sink, where my palette today is very tone on tone. I didn't feel the need to bring any lightener into this. And I love being able to utilize Majirel Cool Cover totally for one look to create a dimensional look that has shine, that has vibrancy, and is gonna give her some nice protection against the summer sun, the chlorinated pools, and all of that good stuff.
You're getting a lot of thumbs up and highs from the Instagram audience.
I would love to hear you guys if this is something that you would utilize behind the chair. You know, I'm all for, I love going to hair shows. I love seeing fun, fancy techniques. But for me, I'm a colorist behind the chair, you know, trying to make a living and try to make my clients look good. And I really love to have something that I feel like really is really powerful without taking, you know, 4 or 5 hours. And again, thank you so much to the Salon Centric store in Saddlebrook for hosting us. If you guys are not able to tune in, you will be able to watch the replay. But they also, where we're filming today, they do in-salon store classes. So you can find your local Salon Centric, and you can definitely sign up for some classes through there as well. I still think it's so amazing that we have Instagram and Facebook and that we can just pop up and do a class now, because when I started educating, that was not a thing. So thank you guys again for just taking time out of your day and tuning in and playing with us. So I've got my last section here. This part of the head gets really wide, so I like to split this into 2 sections. She has a lot of hair, so I really want to make sure that I'm saturating. Again, this is an ammoniated color, so I know that it is going to swell a little bit, but I don't want to take my sections too wide. So I'm just going back in. I see a little, I like to call gray hairs Arctic blondes. It seems to go over a little bit better with some of my guests. And then I'm gonna go in again with my 7.1 up top. And really work this color through with your hands. And when I get to the point where I'm blending the two together, then I can use my 2 fingers and just blend together.
So Jess, for those just joining, can you tell them what you're doing?
Yes. So hello to everybody who is just tuning in. My name is Jessica Todd. I am a national educator with L'Oreal Professionnel. I'm here in the New Jersey Salon Centric Saddlebrook location. And what we're doing is, I'll finish this last section after. So what I did is my model had 25% gray. I'm doing this entire look with L'Oreal Professionnel Majirel Cool Cover, and I did her base. She has not had her base done in about a year. So I pulled that down about 3 to 4 inches down through here and just sort of blended that in using 3N Cool Cover and 20 volume. Then I am taking, if you imagine like a beach ball and what the different colors and stripes look like, that sort of represents with the sectioning that I'm doing. And again, you can do this in multiple different ways. But I chose Majirel Cool Cover 7.1 and 20 volume, and my other formula is 6.17 Majirel Cool Cover 20 volume, and I am taking about 1/2 inch sections and I'm alternating pulling through. We're going for like a Lindt chocolate truffle feel of a little bit darker on the outside, a little bit lighter on the inside. I want her to have, I want her hair to stand a chance against the summer sun and not be fading really brassy or really warm. She had some beautiful balayage done in December. So this is a really great way to reintroduce some tone. And guess what, guys? This will fade over time, but it's gonna be beautiful because we have the cool cover that's gonna fight the brassiness for her, because the cool cover is designed to reflect about 1/2 level darker than its corresponding shade. So again, I'm using 20 volume to get some of that vibrancy and shift out some of her previous color that she had in there before. And then I just really pulled it through. I'm making sure that I keep my base color on my tray so that I have that. So if I need to touch anything up, I always like to keep everything that I'm working with till I'm fully done with the technique. Then I am just alternating through. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my last section. So for those of you that just joined, you can see, so I've got a tail comb. I'm gonna comb through, and then I'm gonna go through with my 6.17 back here.
Jess, you have a question from Lindsay.
Yes.
Would you ever apply it on damp hair after you've done the single process on the base?
Oh, good question. Yes. So, can you repeat the question one more time? Make sure I'm clear.
Would you ever apply it on damp hair after you've done the single process on the base?
Yes, so I would apply this technique on damp hair after I've done a single process. I would do that if my guest had minimal tonal loss. So say I have a guest that has a single process, she sees me every 6 weeks, she comes back, she's only like a level to a level and a half faded out, and I wanna add some rich vibrancy to it, but I feel like a gloss may just fade too soon or fade out too fast, especially in the summertime. So I would absolutely go through, I would towel dry it, depending on how much deposit you wanna get. If you think of towel drying and like, when you towel dry it really well and then you put your hand, a dry hand on the hair, and you take your hand off, you wanna have no to little moisture on your hand. And if you want to just have a little bit of deposit, I would leave more water in the hair. So that's what I love about this technique, you guys, is it's really versatile. I'm showing you one way to do it, but it's just to get you thinking in a different way. Because again, if she had, you know, if she was a redhead and I did a beautiful red base and then I went through with like a red or a red violet and a copper, I could create some beautiful dimension in there with really just doing a dimensional pull through single process. So this, when I was shown this technique, a similar technique to this, it blew my mind because it was just, I think we get so used to doing what our guests are asking for when they come in behind the chair. And I think that it's great when we see something else and it's like you start thinking about sectioning hair in a totally different way. And so for me, being a balayage artist, I really like to look and see where the hair lives and look at, you know, where do I want to see that reflection? Where do I want to see that depth? And this is a way that you can really customize this to your guest. All right, so we've got her through. So I'm just gonna spin her around so you guys can see what the sectioning looks like. So as you can see, I pre-did my single process. I know some of you guys are bummed that you couldn't watch me do a single process, but I can do another live on that some other time. And so again, for those of you that may just be joining, we're using L'Oreal Professionnel Majirel Cool cover through the whole technique. My root formula, my regrowth formula is 3N with 20 volume. She has not had her hair colored in her base done in about a year. She had balayage done in December, so I was working with some pre-existing lighter pieces in there. And so I pulled her base down. I section it into a quad sectioning. Again, speaking to what I spoke to earlier, I think it's really important you can see this product is done and finished. So if she wasn't looking in the mirror, she wouldn't be looking all crazy. So as she's sitting there processing, I'm looking at her and going, am I happy with her looking at herself like this in the mirror? If you don't have mirrors in your color section, good for you guys. I did not think of that. But again, a luxury service, really making sure that they look nice and clean. So once I did her base with 3N, Cool Cover 20 volume, I went through with Cool Cover 7.1 and 20 volume. And I started in the front, and then I alternated my second formula, which is 6.17, 20 volume, also Majirel Cool Cover, and I alternated through. You wanna make sure that you're starting on one side. So after I applied her base color, I had the base color all nice and neat laying down, and I had 4 separate sections. Then I went through and I started my first vertical section on her left side, and I worked my way back to the back of her head, right to the control point. Then I went through on the front and I did the same thing, starting in the front, working my way back. The reason being is if I was just to start on one side and work my way all the way around, obviously in the front, you wanna make sure that you're starting and ending with the same color. So you wanna make sure that your color's balanced. So it's a way to just sort of keep yourself in check. Another trick that I do, may seem simple, but instead of marking what I'm doing when I have 3 different colors going on, I have my base color in a clear shaker. And then this shaker, this is a L'Oreal Professional shaker, but whatever you use, if you have bowls that are 2 different heights, I have one that's slightly higher and one that's slightly lower. So I always keep my lighter shade in the taller shaker. And then I keep my darker shade in the lower shaker. So if my bowls get mixed up, I think we've all been there where if you're highlighting or foiling with a couple of different colors or just pulling a couple different colors through and you're like, your tray got moved and you're like, which one is which, and you're on the front section. You don't want that panic. So again, just being as methodical as you can, as organized as you can, and it's these little things that keep you really organized and keep you moving efficiently throughout the day. I think that we can all do beautiful hair color, but what truly sets you apart and makes you a true professional is being able to do techniques that are concise, to the point, and are gonna give your client the best result that's good for them.
Jess V. Doherty can't wait to try it on her redheads.
Yay, yeah, it's great for redheads. And something else you can try too, I'm not gonna have to gloss her afterwards, but especially for a redhead, if I was doing that on her, I would definitely go through with Dia Light and gloss her, because again, you wanna think of like, when you're thinking about hair color, Susie Bond uses this great example. It's like making a bed where you put the fitted sheet on, then you put the top sheet, then you put the comforter, and then you've got like the nice pillows and the fancy pillows. So your fitted sheet and your top sheet and your comforter really being the color that's penetrating to the cortex, and then whatever color you may be pulling through, and then whatever color you're gonna gloss with, and really making sure that they're taking home really good at-home hair color. I think that retail can be a really tough conversation sometimes, but you guys, they're coming to you for a reason. It's like we've all had that experience where I've gone to a store and I'm like ready to spend money and they're like, no, don't worry about that one, or they don't show me something or they make some assumption, and then I leave there not buying anything and I feel bummed about it. But for them, for protecting for their hair color, I wanna offer them as many solutions to whatever hair problem they may be having, and then let them make the decision. So it's not that you're selling something, it's truly that you're solving problems for their hair care, because they're gonna buy it somewhere and they're not buying it from us most of the time. So I just really wanna drive that point home, that if somebody's sitting in my chair and they're gonna invest in the hair color and in professional salon services, I wanna make sure that they're taking care of it at home, because I also can't guarantee that her color isn't gonna fade and isn't gonna look, great if she's not taking home what I recommend, what I know will maintain her color for weeks to come. And so we're gonna send you off to go process. So I told you guys we had another model. So we're gonna bring out our second model, actually our first model that we pre-did. We used Majirel Cool cover on her. And so, hi beautiful. You look so great. So what I did is I did Majirel Cool cover 20 volume 9.1 on her base. And then I pulled through doing the same sectioning, but leaving some of her previously highlighted pieces out. I used 10N and 10.1 Cool cover, but I isolated her pieces in foils because she is a blonde and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't disrupting what she had previously. So you guys can just really see that it really cuts through a lot of that and it leaves you with a multi-dimensional feel. So again, playing with it in different ways is really great. If I had her, if she was a guest at my salon, what I would have finished her service with would be a face frame balayage and just pop some of those pieces to break up some of the root area. She came to me, she had a full foil before and some balayage in there, and it was beautiful. She was a natural level 8. But again, with the brunettes, it's icy red, and with the blondes, it's icy orange. So it's making sure that we're really addressing those pieces. You're gonna get warmth in there. She does have some warmth in there, but I'm gonna go back through and give her some highlights to just pop that. So stuff's gonna happen behind the chair, guys, but just make sure that you know what to do to adjust it. And I did gloss her with Dia Light 10.1 and 6 volume. And we used the Enforcer shampoo and conditioner on her, the mask, to really make sure that we were giving her as much hydration as possible.